What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Well, in the last video, we were sitting right here, right around $100, with people asking the question if it was too late to be buying Avalanche. As you can hear from this clip right here, we actually said that buying right here and aping in might be a bad idea, as we could see some type of 15 to 20% correction back down to some of our moving averages. Let's take a quick listen. We could see the pullback. At any given point, that support could fail, and you won't be getting caught up being aped in at this point whenever you could be getting a better buying opportunity, especially considering the fact that we are seeing some bearish divergences and a slowdown from many of our indicators. So what we were seeing was, again, bearish divergence happening, our indicators starting to slow down, and overall at this point, now that we had fully executed on that massive inverse head and shoulders that we saw form, we were kind of thinking, okay, you know what, we may see profit taking at this level. Support could start to fail once we cleared $100 for the very short amount of time that we were recording that video, and we were looking for a possible pullback towards the $80 to $85 region. Well, the biggest thing that we were keeping our eye on, if it was to fall, was, again, our 20 exponential moving average. That was going to be the most important level, as it has served as our support multiple times already. As you can see here, we worked our way back up, and as you can see here, this was the final time that we bounced off of it before collapsing through it, causing a bit of an extensive pullback. So we can see that this 20 EMA is extremely important, and so is our 20 SMA. Both of them served as key regions for support, and we actually found that support and continued upwards through that $100 mark, just like we said in the video. So now going forward, let's talk about what I'm expecting to see and where do I think this thing is going. Well, what I'm noticing right now is loads of bullishness still forming. And usually when a crypto breaks through its all-time high, you're not usually seeing bullishness still forming, but we are indeed. Now, the first thing that I'm seeing, of course, in terms of patterns is this another inverse head and shoulders. You guys know I absolutely love these head and shoulders. Matter of fact, the last buy that we made on Avalanche was because of this massive inverse head and shoulders that we saw here. If we do go ahead and kind of just pull up the Patreon real quick, you can see that the last position I started on AVAX was due to the shoulder line crossing back there at $74. And since then, I mean, the price has gone up, what, 30–40%. And so I absolutely love these inverse head and shoulders. And when they form, that's a key sign of bullishness. Now, currently, the technical target for this inverse head and shoulders is going to be the distance from the bottom of the head up to our shoulder line here, applied to the breakout of that shoulder line. And that gives us, let's go ahead and get rid of that top one. That gives us a breakout target of about $120, meaning that we definitely could be looking at still 10+% in gains before fully executing that. Now, is that going to happen right now? You can never know, of course. Now, we have to be aware we broke through this key level. So at any given point, we may come back down and look to hold as support. So anytime you see a resistance get cleared, do understand that a RS flip is very possible, in which we flip this level of resistance into support. But I do believe that we will work our way up towards $120 over the next couple of days if we do see the market continuing upwards, especially if we see support get established here. So first and foremost, if you see this support get established, the price starts to roll a bit, we see support get established in the short term, that could serve as a fantastic entry to see another 20+% gain. Now, not only are we starting to see some of these bullish patterns forming on the charts, but we are also seeing that same bullishness from our indicators. So looking at our indicators, one thing we can see is the cancellation of bearish divergence, which is so important. Now, what I mean by that is what we will see occasionally when cryptos are setting new all-time highs is that the indicators are slowing down as they do so. What that looks like is this for a perfect example. We set a high, and a high, all lower highs, meaning that we're not getting to those same levels. But one thing you can see from the price is we are setting a high, and a higher high, saying that the price is going up, but our indicator is slowing down, and that's typically a bearish sign. That's called bearish divergence. But one thing you can see is that if we get just a little bit more momentum here, a little bit more of a push, we can be looking at the cancellation of setting another lower high and actually setting the higher high on the RSI, which just goes to show that we're correcting this bearish divergence and could be looking at a big move to the upside. That's absolutely phenomenal, and that's what you want to see while the crypto is setting its new all-time high, because that allows it to continue that move to the upside without having to see some type of substantial pullback to the downside. Now, we can also see that is true on the daily RSI. We set this high, we set another high, we set the same high on the RSI, and we see this bearish divergence on the daily RSI. And so, of course, being that we were seeing the lower high on the RSI, that could have been a sign that a pullback was going to happen, as we saw here. But as we are making this move to the upside, we've set the higher high off of this previous high, going to show that we've corrected that bearish divergence in the short term and maybe looking at a continuation to the upside. Now, lastly, looking at the MACD, one thing we can see is the avoidance of any type of conversion or any type of interception between the blue and the orange line. Of course, if your blue EMA is above your orange EMA, you don't want to see the blue one go downwards through the orange one. Just to keep it as simple as I can, that's bearishness. And we saw that the lines started to face each other a little bit, as you can see, started to see a bit of conversion, but we saw the turnaround and a push back to the upside, seemingly saying that we are still well within bull territory, especially if we look at the 4-hour charts. There is loads of room to work, okay? Loads of room to the upside for this thing to grow. Everything's saying that we are looking extremely bullish for the Avalanche charts right now. Now, again, is that me saying that we're not going to see a pullback to $100? No, we definitely could do that as it's such a strong level of resistance. But in the long to midterm, it does seem as if we are still working our way back to the top side, and that could be accompanied by some absolutely massive gains. So with that being said, let's take a quick look at where could this thing be going and what are some, really valid and reasonable price targets. Well, personally speaking, based off of the channel that we've been in for about the last 2 to 3 months, I do believe that we could be working our way back up to the top side of this channel towards the end of November to the beginning of December. Now, on a logarithmic scale on a chart, as you can see here, that puts us right up towards $160 to $180 towards the end of the year. Now, I think this is very reasonable, and I think it's very possible, especially considering all of the growth that Avalanche is seeing right now. So overall, with all of the bullish indicators that we are seeing, I think our next stop can be towards $127, with my, next 3 to 4 weeks seeing this thing work its way back up towards $150 to $180. So overall, I think that there's still loads of bullishness and that there is still loads of room for this thing to work to the upside. And so catching it as it does come back down to find some of these support levels definitely can serve many people well as it continues to work its way up. So overall, Avalanche is looking extremely bullish right now. Things are looking fantastic for some more mid to long-term growth, and I will of course continue to update you guys as this all does happen. Now, of course, guys, this is not financial advice, so please don't just do everything that I say. Of course, I'm just a guy. At the end of the day, I'm just a guy who doesn't have a crystal ball to see the future, but I do believe in the Avalanche ecosystem, and I think going forward, there is a lot of growth on the way, and if you also share those same insights, I definitely do think that, making some buys here could still lead to some gains towards the end of the year into the future. So with that being said, again, I hope you guys did enjoy today's video. If you did, you can let me know by smashing that like button and subscribing to the channel if you are new, and I'll see you next time. Peace.